All right, in boardrooms and on balance sheets all across the logistics industry, there's one term that's sparking some really tough conversations: the green premium. It's this critical decision point that could honestly define the future of your entire supply chain. So let's break it down.
And really, the whole debate, it all boils down to this one simple question. Is going green just some unavoidable cost that's going to hammer your bottom line? Or is it a strategic investment that actually sets you up for the future? We're going to look at both sides of that argument right now.
Okay, so what is this thing exactly? Well, the green premium is basically just the price difference, right? It's the extra cost you pay for choosing the clean, new tech over the old greenhouse gas emitting stuff. Think of it like this. It's the price gap between regular ship fuel and a cleaner option like green methanol. Or maybe it's the higher lease you'd pay for an electric truck versus a good old diesel one. That extra cash you have to shell out, that's the premium.
A lot of folks in the industry were kind of hoping that global regulations, from places like the International Maritime Organization would just level the playing field and make this whole premium disappear. But, well, progress has been slow. So now the choice isn't some far-off theoretical thing anymore. It's right here, right now. The big question is, do you pay up or do you risk the consequences down the road?
Okay, first things first. Let's put on our finance hat and look at this from a purely financial point of view. I mean, if you're a CFO and you're just staring at the numbers on a spreadsheet, well, the story they tell is, let's just say, it's pretty challenging.
So right off the bat, this premium hits your cost of goods sold, your COGS, hard. You see it pop up as higher fuel surcharges when you pick greener options, like sustainable aviation fuel for your air freight or bio-LNG for shipping. It's not abstract, it's a real immediate hit to the cost of actually moving your stuff from A to B.
And it doesn't stop there either. Your day-to-day operating expenses, your OPEX, also take a hit. I'm talking about things like new maintenance procedures, maybe needing specialized labor. All these green initiatives start to add up and weigh on the operational cost of running your business.
And then, of course, there's the big one, capital expenditure, CapEx. We're talking about massive upfront investments here, things like building out charging stations for a whole new electric fleets or maybe installing hydrogen storage facilities. These are huge capital outlays that you can bet any finance department is going to look at with a microscope. So when you look at it through that short-term, 12-month financial lens, especially in the kind of high interest rate world we're in right now, the pressure is just undeniable. The premium squeezes margins that are already razor thin, and that makes it a really, really tough sell in the boardroom.
But hey, that's only one side of the coin, right? Let's take off the finance hat for a second and switch from that short-term view to a more long-term strategic one. Because when you do that, wow, the picture changes completely.
From this strategic angle, the whole conversation just gets reframed. Suddenly, the premium isn't just a cost anymore. It becomes an investment in two really powerful areas. First, protecting the business you've already built, and second, actually creating brand new value for the future.
Let's talk about protection first. Think of paying the premium today as, well, it's basically an insurance policy. Seriously, carbon taxes aren't some distant boogeyman. They're already here. Just look at the EU's carbon border adjustment mechanism. It's going to tax high carbon imports. So by going green now, you're literally building a shield for your business against these inevitable and probably pretty volatile future costs. But here's the cool part. It's not just about playing defense. It's about going on offense too. Companies that have clear plans for decarbonization, they can unlock things like green financing and special loans with way better interest rates. And maybe even more important, the biggest shippers in the world are now demanding low-carbon transport. So paying that premium, that's your ticket to securing business with them, protecting, and maybe even growing your market share. Okay, so if we agree the premium is an investment, the obvious next question is, well, how long is it going to be this high? And that's a great question. The good news is, this isn't some permanent penalty. The gap between the green and the traditional options, it's already starting to close. So there are really two big forces at play here that are closing that gap. First up, economies of scale. It's simple, right? The more companies that commit to buying alternative fuels, the cheaper it gets to produce them. And second, you've got operational efficiency. It turns out that going green often forces companies to get lean, optimizing routes, cutting waste. And those savings, they can directly help offset the higher cost of the green fuel. All right, so we've looked at the short-term pain from the finance side, and we've seen the long-term gain from the strategy side. It really all comes back to a critical choice that every single business has to make for itself. When you get right down to it, it all comes down to your perspective. How do you see this? Do you see decarbonization as just another compliance tax that you have to minimize at all costs? Or do you see it as a way to future-proof your entire supply chain? Honestly, your answer to that question could be the difference between this being just another cost or being the single most important investment you make this decade. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. This all sounds great, but I don't have an unlimited budget to just go out and make this investment. And you know what? That is a completely fair point. The cost, even if it's a fantastic strategic investment, is still very, very real. But what if you could start this journey? What if you could get a 10 to 15% cut in your emissions for free? No, seriously, it's possible. And that is exactly what we are going to cover in our next explainer. We'll show you how to find that low-hanging fruit. Thanks for tuning in.